It was a moonlit night. Henry was taking a goods train to the station by the lake. Whenever that owl hoots, a mist rolls in, murmured Edward. There's a legend that when the mist's about, there's a ghost about too. Take care on the old line, Henry.
Stupid bird,
said Henry.
Owls, mists, ghosts. Edward's going soft at the boiler. There's no mist.
But Henry was wrong.
What's that?
Cried Henry. It's an amber lamp, murmured his driver. That means proceed with caution. Who's there? No one replied. Henry crept slowly forward. He stopped by a tree. It had a sign nailed to it, "Beware of the viaduct." The driver was surprised. No one warned us about that before. And look, the signal's red. And the gates are closed. And there's a fogman's coat. But where is its owner? Then they saw a light move within the station building.
Ghosts!
Exclaimed Henry.
Edward was right.
Something very strange is happening, said his driver. I think it's best we go back.
So do I,
agreed Henry. By morning, the mist had cleared. A workman was talking about the unsafe viaduct. Lucky you didn't cross it last night. Yes, but we don't know who warned us, replied Henry's driver. Later that day, he spoke to Henry. The viaduct has been repaired. We can take our train back along the old line tonight. Henry really didn't want to. But when nightfall came, he was sizzling nicely. Suddenly, an owl hooted, and then Gordon thundered by. Oh, look, Henry's spooked, said a freight car.
Be quiet,
snapped Henry.
I'm not scared.
But he was. A little later, the fog came down. As they approached the same area, they saw the amber light again. Here we go, said Henry's driver. Then, unknown to Henry, the gates mysteriously closed by themselves, and the signal went red. The freight cars had seen everything, and they were spooked. Faster, faster, there's a ghost about.
Stop, stop,
yelled Henry. A mysterious figure watched Henry go by. Ahead was a landslide blocking the line. Henry braked hard, but the freight cars hit some of the rubble and plunged into the ravine. Just then, Henry's driver saw a strange sight coming towards them. What's that? He said. The fireman laughed. That's our ghost. It's Old Bailey, the fogman. Old Bailey was very cross. I tried to warn you about the viaduct. Why didn't you pay attention? We're sorry, replied the driver. Is there anything we can do to thank you? I'd like to operate that old station. If you let me, I promise I won't spook Henry again. And in a little while, Old Bailey's wish was granted. You and your station will be really useful, said Sir Topham Hatt. Let's hear a hearty thank you to the friendliest, ghost on the island. Everyone cheered, especially Henry, who was the happiest of all. One day, Sir Topham had arranged with Thomas the Tank Engine to take his wife and grandchildren to the seaside. The sun shone, and everywhere looked splendid. But Lady Hat was feeling hot and tired. She took her troubles out on Annie and Clarabelle. "Those coaches are old and uncomfortable. Why don't you use them as beach huts instead?" Thomas was most upset. "You won't let them turn Annie and Clarabelle into beach huts, will you?" "Of course not, Thomas," replied his driver, "but I must admit they could be smartened up." The next day, Sir Topham Hatt used Percy to take his family to Harold's airfield. They were just about to board Harold when it happened.
What was that?
Cried Sir Topham Hatt. "That's Tiger Moth," grumbled Harold. "It's rude and flies much too low."
So I can see. Please take us up, Harold, before there's another disturbance.
A few days later, Harold arrived at their holiday home with bad news. It's Tiger Moth," said Harold's pilot. "It's gone missing. Do you wish to join the search party with us?"
I think I'd better. There's Tiger Moth,
called Sir Topham Hatt. Then he spoke to the pilot.
You were showing off and flying dangerously. I will speak to your controller and request that you are grounded.
"Yes, sir," replied the pilot.
Now, if you'll excuse me, I shall return to my holiday.
"Jolly good idea, sir." Sir Topham Hatt arranged to meet up with Toby and Henrietta to take them somewhere special. They arrived at a small river inlet. "What a beautiful boat!" exclaimed the children.
It's my special treat.
Sir Topham Hatt took the helm with his wife beside him.
It's so nice to be away from the railway for once,
he said to her. "And far cleaner," she replied. But life on the river is very different from that on the rails. The family were enjoying themselves so much that they forgot to watch where they were going.
"Oh, botheration,"
said Sir Topham Hatt.
"We're stuck."
And they were. Other boats tried to pull them off the mud bank, but it was no use. Percy saw the commotion and stopped. "Is there anything we can do to help?" called his driver.
Yes, indeed there is.
"This is the life, isn't it, my dear?" Soon they arrived at a small station. There was Thomas with Annie and Clarabelle, who were looking as smart as their new paint, inside and out.
"My!"
exclaimed Lady Hat.
"What splendid coaches! So much more suitable than those old beach huts on wheels."
No one said a word. But that evening, Annie and Clarabelle spoke to Thomas. "It's very nice to get compliments, but no matter what we look like, we'll always be useful, won't we, Thomas?" "Of course," their friend replied.